Content is king. It's what drives consumer behavior, national ideologies, and even politics. But for some reason, it's not so obvious to most people. Because I've been working in marketing for a few years now, I'll try to explain why content is so big by using a basic marketing concept called a funnel. Basically, it's a representation of the journey a person goes through from hearing about a brand for the first time to buying from it. If we'll simplify it, you can look at it this way. The first stage is seeing your ad for the first time or hearing about your brand somehow. The second step is going into your website and checking it out. The third step would be to add a product the website sells to your cart, and the fourth and last step would be purchasing it. Obviously, you can add more steps like initiating checkout or purchasing a second product, but you get my point. Every step represents a different state of mind a person is in, and in marketing, it helps us understand what message this person needs to hear to convince him or her to buy from us, whatever the business is. So back to content. Content is this step, the first one. It's a step where you hear an idea for the first time and you start to digest it and internalize it, maybe even integrate it into your own way of thinking. It's equivalent to scrolling through Pinterest for birthday gift ideas. You're just testing things out, contemplating new perspectives and ideas. This step has a big long-term impact and is super meaningful when you want to convert people to buy your products or buy into your belief system. It gets the wheels turning. Without it, no change can happen. The thing is, this step is very subtle and goes under the radar of most people. Since no one is trying to hard sell you anything, people often undervalue how important content is, how much it can affect your day-to-day life by creating new ideas, putting them into people's minds, having them blow up and become popular over time, influence politicians, and then even public policies. It all starts with content. And that's why there's such a strong connection between media and government. That's why politicians are so scared of journalists, of ideas. And that's why tyranny always starts with silencing comedians and journalists. Up until a few years ago, content was mainly owned by big corporate media, and that's because of the high barrier to entry it had. Having a camera and a strong enough computer for editing was expensive, but nowadays we can all create content with our phone and even edit on it. Another key part of this change is the platforms that allow people access to this content and incentivize creators to create content. The most famous ones are Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, podcasts, and TikTok. But in my opinion, the most effective ones to create a change are podcasts and YouTube. The long-form content makes it so a lot of information can be passed and a deep connection can be built with the creator. Sure, TikTok and Instagram are bigger, but they are fast and shallow, and real ideology penetration happens in depth in long-form content. Why am I saying all of this? Why are we going over how important content is? Because we've come to a point where the purity of these new platforms and creators wanting to experiment with new ways of communicating has transitioned to manipulative methods of influencing our minds the same way old corporate media used to do and still does, and it hurts us. We're just not aware of it yet. We're still charmed by how new creators are emerging every day, how authentic and real they are, and how the videos and messages we consume all the time are pure and creative. What we miss is the agenda hidden behind so many of them. The agenda, as it's always been, is to create different camps of people and have them fight one another as a means to get control, by using content acting as the messenger that translates each side. Now, usually messengers were simply an extension of some leader, but nowadays the messenger is the leader. So any content creator with a big enough audience can lead a camp and translate the other side's camp to his own existing audience. What this means is that content creators have transitioned from being artists to leaders, and their impact is huge. Much bigger than most people think. Now, I've been consuming YouTube videos for years now, but for the last few of them, I've been seeing more and more divisive content in many different social topics. One of them being men versus women. These two camps have always existed and have always had differences and friction. But for the last few years, it's become more and more extreme, to a point where every piece of content each camp puts out is just straight up bashing the other one non-stop. It started with the feminist movement having the goal of creating equality between the sexes and has somewhat gone to the extreme of men hating. Obviously, there still are people who believe in equality and don't hate men at all, but it feels like the only thing you hear nowadays is how horrible men are. And on the other side, the men's side, the red pill community popped up. which had some good intentions of trying to shed some light on the difficulties men go through and how to stand up for what's good for you as a man. But this movement too seems to have gone too far and has been somewhat overtaken by women-hating content. And it's not like both sides are so wrong. Men do create problems that women have to deal with, and women do that to men too, but it's not because each side tries to hurt the other. It's because we're different, and that creates friction, and because the world is simply unfair no matter how you look at it. What will create this world where women and men will try to hurt people based on their sex, ironically enough, is this type of content, this way of seeing everything through these lenses. I'm creating this video to show you how this behavior divides us and hurts us and what we can do to change it. If you consume enough content without being aware of the agenda it's pushing, you can easily fall into the trap of finally having someone to blame for all your hardships. It happened to me and to many other people I know. I heard so many guys talking about how women are responsible for so much misery men go through, like divorce, cheating, emotional manipulation, body shaming, and much more through endless pieces of content. So I believed them. I believed these creators and started only seeing the evil in women. And on the other side, I heard plenty of educated, smart female friends of mine saying how men are the source of evil in the world and how each one of us is essentially a potential killer or rapist, and how they are having such a hard time in life and how men don't. And I get it. We all suffer in life. There's no way to escape it no matter what we do, and we're all trying to avoid it and fix it. The first step to fixing something is identifying the problem and the cause of it, and the second step is addressing the thing that causes it and fixing it. And because we suffer so much and are always looking to find that cause, we sometimes don't do the hard work and are satisfied with listening to someone else who tells us who causes all that pain of ours, even though they're just wrong. Men aren't the source of all evil, and women aren't the source of all evil. Some men are the source of evil and some women are. So essentially, some people are. It's not a men versus women issue. And the same goes for plenty of other topics we have these days, like left versus right in politics, capitalism versus socialism, and vaccinated versus unvaccinated people. So we've established that there's a problem. Content nowadays is too extreme, too divisive, and too harmful for others and for ourselves. Hating might seem like a good solution for the short term, but it will only hurt us in the long term. Now, who's the cause of this problem, of all of this divisive content we're consuming all the time? Is it the content creators, the social media platforms? Is it us? Yes and no. I know some content creators. Most of them aren't bad people who are trying to divide us into different groups. They just focus on creating content they believe in and that works, meaning content that people watch, which nowadays means showing anything extreme because of how saturated we are with stimulation. I also don't think we, the viewers, are very aware of the situation. We mostly look for some distraction from our day-to-day life so we can relax and unwind and let our walls down. So I can't say we're the bad guys, although we do take part in creating this problem. I think the main cause of this issue are the companies that run the social platforms we spend all this time on. Their goal is to keep us engaged on their platforms as much as possible, so we view as many ads as possible so they can make as much as money as possible. And the best way to do that is by attracting us with extreme content. I also think these companies have political agendas they're trying to push, and extreme content helps promote their ideas, but that's for another day. Now, instead of focusing on what other people we don't know want and are trying to do, let's focus on what we can do to improve our situation. How can we be more balanced? How can we avoid being played with emotionally and hate each other so much? The first thing you can do is try to pay attention to what type of content you're consuming and how helpful it is to your life. Does it make you feel good? Does it fill you up? Does it add value to your life? Make you laugh or learn something? Or does it make you see a darker world? The second thing is, after you've categorized what's helping you achieve peace of mind and balance in life and what doesn't, is to reduce the time you spend consuming this content and start to look for balanced content. I, for example, started following YouTube channels like Breaking Points. They do news with the most balanced views I've seen so far, and even if I disagree with them on some issues, I appreciate them actively and publicly trying to be more neutral and promote balance and not division. I'm sure there are more channels like this, and if you have some suggestions, I'd love to hear them down in the comments. But it's not enough. If you really want to make a change and reduce the level of extremism in the content we consume every day, maybe you can start to create your own pieces of content, or maybe you can try to share and push videos you like with your friends and family, so the algorithms will push them to more people, which will make creators switch up to what works: balanced content. And who knows, maybe we'll be able to change something. Maybe our next family dinner will be focused on being present and enjoying each other's company rather than on bashing each other, trying to win arguments and prove our point. My goal with this channel is exactly that: to create more balance in people's lives, be it by creating content like this or by teaching people how to connect with their body and themselves by learning how to move. To some people, this combination may look weird, but for me, it makes sense. The more connected you are to yourself, the more balanced you will be. If it interests you, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. It would really mean a lot to me and help me grow this channel, so thank you for that. So go out there, chill down, spend your time and find some quality, balanced content and share it with people. Anyway, have a good day and peace.